There is a 30-minute window every single day where your body tells you exactly where it stands. Most people override it before they read it. The first half hour after waking is the most honest diagnostic signal your system produces. It is not affected by what you tell yourself about how you're doing. It is not affected by how productive you were yesterday. It is a direct readout of your regulatory capacity, and it happens every morning whether you pay attention or not. Here's how most people handle that window. The alarm goes off, there's a moment of recognition, a heaviness, a fog, a sense that getting up is going to require something, and within about 90 seconds, the phone is in hand, the coffee is starting, and the signal is gone. Not resolved, overridden. By the time you're actually thinking clearly, the data has passed, and you've been doing this for so long that you no longer remember what a genuinely functional morning feels like. So let me describe what it should look like. You wake up before or around your alarm. There's a brief transitional period, a minute or two, and then you're online. Not enthusiastic necessarily, but clear, capable. The body feels available. You could make a decision, hold a conversation, or start work within the first 10 minutes if you had to. Coffee, if you drink it, is a preference, not a requirement. That's not a personality type. That's a functional cortisol awakening response. Here's what's happening underneath. In the 30 to 45 minutes after waking, cortisol should rise sharply, typically 50 to 160% above the waking baseline. This is the cortisol awakening response. That surge does specific work. It mobilizes glucose so the brain has fuel. It shifts immune function into its daytime pattern. It sharpens cognition and raises blood pressure enough to support upright activity. It is a physiological event that brings the entire system online. When it fires properly, you don't have to manufacture readiness. It's already there. When that surge blunts, everything downstream changes. The fog isn't physiological. Glucose mobilization is delayed, so the brain is running on less fuel than it needs. The heaviness isn't laziness. It's a cardiovascular system that hasn't received the signal to prepare for upright activity. The irritability isn't character. It's a prefrontal cortex operating without adequate support. Every symptom of a difficult morning maps to a specific physiological deficit. You are not bad at mornings. Your morning signal is not firing. And here's what makes the morning genuinely useful as a diagnostic. It changes in a predictable sequence as depletion deepens. Early on, the morning is functional, but the recovery from a hard day takes longer than it used to. Then mornings become effortful, manageable with caffeine, but difficult without it. Then the surge flattens further, and the first 2 hours of the day become something to survive rather than use. In the deepest stages, the morning signal is close to absent. There is no meaningful difference between how you feel at 7 a.m. and how you felt at 3 a.m. The morning doesn't just tell you something is wrong, it tells you roughly how far along you are. Here's the difficulty. This progression happens slowly, over months, over years, and your sense of what's normal recalibrates alongside it. The morning that would have alarmed you 5 years ago is now just Tuesday. You didn't decide to accept it. You simply stopped noticing the difference because the comparison point moved with you. This is why the morning has to be read deliberately rather than felt casually. Your subjective sense of your mornings is calibrated to your current baseline. The signal is honest. Your interpretation of it drifts. So here's how to read the window properly. For 1 week, before the phone and before the caffeine, ask 3 questions and note the answers. First, how long from waking until you feel mentally clear? Minutes or hours? Second, is caffeine a preference this morning or a requirement? Third, If you have to make an important decision in the first 15 minutes, could you? 3 questions, 30 seconds, no devices, no supplements, no interpretation, just the answers. When people say they're running on adrenaline, what we measure in the clinic is cortisol rhythm disruption. The adrenaline is what you feel. The cortisol curve is what it looks like under the hood. The morning is where that curve is most visible without a lab. It is the one point in the day where your rhythm either fires or doesn't, and you can feel the difference directly. You could measure this with a 4-point salivary cortisol panel. Some of my patients do. But a lab gives you one snapshot on one day. Your morning gives you a reading every single day for free in a window you're already awake for. And the rhythm is disrupted, trending towards inversion, long before any lab confirms a reversal. The body produces the clinical picture first. The measurable values follow. The body doesn't wait for a lab to confirm what it's already living. Your morning is not a problem to be solved with a better routine. It's a message about the state of your regulatory system. Optimizing the morning routine while the underlying signal is flat is like adjusting the volume on a radio that isn't receiving. You can change what you do in that window, but you can't manufacture the surge that's supposed to be driving it. The heaviness is information. The fog is information. The dependence on caffeine to reach baseline is information. Read it before you override it. 2 decades of clinical practice, 5 distinct stages, each with a specific clinical picture, measurable markers, and a specific direction of treatment. What restores you below a certain threshold actively depletes you above it. The map is in the course. The link is in the description. In the description below is a free 5-day course. Day 1 alone will change how you read every morning you've ever had. Over 5 days, I'll walk you through the full mechanism, what's happening in your body, how it progresses, why conventional approaches miss it, and what genuine recovery actually requires. The link is in the description. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm Dr. Jason Trombley, DAOM, AP. This is the Adrenaline Project.